Am I still in?
You are still in, yes. Okay, we'll go ahead and call the Board of Works and Safety meeting to order. It's 5:01 PM on Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Daniel.
Here.
Kenrod.
Here.
Crowder.
Here.
In front of you are the minutes from our last meeting. I did give one change over to Rosie. And that's under the last page of the minutes. Engineering is misspelled. Besides that, were there anything else that you caught?
I didn't see anything.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented with the one change.
Second.
Motion second. Is further discussion? All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous. Next up is the bid opening for community crossing street repairs for 2023.
Here, first bid is from Ryan Asphalt. Total bid price, $436,449.40. Second one is from Niblock. Total bid price, $353,280.90. The next one is from Pulver Asphalt, Albion. Total bid price, $432,802.50. The next one's from Brooks Construction. Total bid price, $408,153. Next one's from API Construction. Total bid price, $369,896.35. And the last one is from E&D Paving. Total bid price, $376,310.50.
Well, thank you. Thank you to all the bidders. We will take these bids under advisement as our plan to award at the next meeting.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, do you have an engineer's estimate?
Mark?
It was about 800,000. So all bids were way low.
Way lower. Okay.
Thank you, sorry to butt in.
No, that's okay. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. We'll take them under advisement and, like I said, award at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Stick around for a few more minutes, Mark.
Okay.
Thanks, bud.
Kelly. So we get a double the street package.
So actually, I'll tell you what I was thinking about as we were getting those bids in, Mark, and it's something that we need to, I don't know how we consider this, but is it something we need to consider going maybe in the first round of this year for another package of some sort to do 2 packages, or how we do that?
They're
So,
limited to 1 million per.
that's true, per year, isn't it?
Per calendar
Okay.
year, yeah.
So we'll have to really consider that. So why don't we put our heads together and think about that? I mean, that's, those are fantastic bids.
Yeah, and
So
those-
compared to what we thought it was gonna be, so,
Yeah, and our estimate was done using the previous estimates that we had in other community crossing projects, so
yeah.
pricing evidently has come way down.
Apparently, the other part of that is, and I know usually it's one way where if you go over, we have to make up the difference, but it may be worth a conversation with, and I'm sure they'll probably say no, but it may be worth a conversation with NDOT to say, we have this much space left, and maybe they'll say, okay, well, that much money's coming back to us then, I guess.
Yeah, it's worth a try. Normally, they'll award it based on the actual bids. They'll firm up the actual purchase
Yep.
order based on the
Yep.
bids.
Okay, so we can take that into consideration. Good news is we're under bid.
Yeah, right?
So, okay, so we'll take that into consideration, and thank you, Mark, for your help. We'll move on to street cut permits. We'll move on to street cut permits. So first up, we have 114 North Park Drive. And this is, as you may know, this was effectively a vacant lot. There used to be maybe, I think, a tennis court on there or something to that effect, if I remember correctly. So they're putting I think a duplex on there. Any concerns from the department heads on the 114 North Park Drive request?
There's currently a patch going across the street for the sewer.
Okay.
They ran 2 sewer taps across there. I don't know if
Oh, okay.
they utilize that trench or not.
Gotcha. Okay. Hearing none, I'll make a motion, we approve the permit to cut into curb streets or alleys for 114 North Park Drive as presented.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor should be the usual sign. It is unanimous. Next up is a street cut permit for 881 Summit Drive. And so that's in the mobile home park, Countryside, thank you. Countryside Mobile Home Park. Any concerns from the department heads on this one? No. Any concerns from the Board of Works? Okay. I'll make a motion, we approve the permit to cut into curb streets or alleys for 881 Summit Drive as presented.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show with the usual sign. It is unanimous. Next up is the agreement with the Humane Shelter. As you know, we've had a long-term agreement with them acting as our animal control agency effectively. It appears that the contract they're requesting is the same amount that has been in the past many, many years, which is $25,000 for the year. I did mention to Rosie ahead of the meeting that I think it would be valuable to have Abby from the Humane Shelter come and present to the Board of Works of kind of what they're doing more than just this letter. I think it's good. It gives us obviously some information. I will tell you that in looking through the addresses, there were I think there were 3 addresses that weren't necessarily in the city, although there was like Washington Road, which could have been Washington Street, things like that. But still, at the end of the day, they provide a great service for the community, certainly help us out and our police officers out when we have stray animals or, temperament issues with animals that we catch, things like that. So, I guess the question I would lay upon your feet is whether you want to have the agreement, then have her come in at a later date, or if you want to hold the agreement until she comes in and presents, or what you would like to do. I'm good with either way.
Approving the agreement then.
Are you okay with that? Okay. Okay. Marcia, did you have a chance to look over the Humane Shelter agreement?
I did.
Okay. You did not?
I
Oh,
did
that's
not.
okay.
I apologize.
That's okay, no, that's okay. So, I mean, I don't think it's changed much from previous years, so I'm gonna give you a moment to do that, and then, and I think what we'll do then, if the board is okay with it, is we'll come back to that. And actually, I think I'd like to jump to bills. if that's okay with you. I know Nicole kind of,
Fine.
okay, and we'll give you a second to get there. Okay. We're gonna go.
Alrighty, let me make sure that, okay. So I'll start with the bills. I'll make a motion to pay all accounts payable vouchers in the amount of $1,172,500.43 from the allowance of accounts payable vouchers dated January 24th, 2023.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous.
And staying in that area, the next one I believe is the HSA City Share. It's right after the bills and right before the year wages. Says McKinney, Adam, and Lawson, Felicity.
I believe it's $4,000.
Electric and fire, 4,000.
Oh, is that it? Okay. I skipped over it because it was such
I
a
know.
small amount,
I know, I
so.
did too.
Those are just new.
Oh, those are the new employees, gotcha. Okay, I'm good, Nicole, thank you.
I'll make a motion to pay all pay types in the amount of $4,000 for the HSA City Share for new employees, for the pay file ending January 20th, 2023.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor should be the usual sign. It is unanimous.
And the next one right after that is the OPO wages. So I'll make a motion to pay all pay types except overtime in the amount of $567.30 for OPO wages for the pay file ending January 9th, 2023.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor should be the usual sign. It is unanimous.
And then there's another file,
That's the usual pay.
service awards payroll down at the bottom. Or did I just skip?
Yeah, there's one more
I skipped.
payroll.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay, gotta find it.
The 270.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so regular payroll. I'll make a motion to pay all pay types except overtime in the amount of $271,020.49, plus overtime in the amount of $5,630.35 for the pay file ending January 13th, 2023.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor should be the usual sign. It is unanimous.
And now go to the other
Service awards.
item, service awards payroll. I'll make a motion to pay all pay types except overtime for service awards in the amount of $6,462.25 for the pay file ending January 27th, 2023.
And I'll second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor should be the usual sign. It is unanimous. Get back to the agenda. Marcia.
There was it looked like mainly just the dates were changed,
Okay.
so all
Everything's good?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns from the board regarding the Humane Shelter agreement? Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve the agreement between the Humane Society of Whitley County and the City of Columbia City as presented.
Second?
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor should be the usual sign. It is unanimous.
And then would you like them to come in at the next meeting?
Yes, please.
Have one?
Or, what our schedule allows,
Okay.
but sometime, I would say, in the month of January/February.
Would you like us to take fiscal plan under consideration tonight?
We're gonna just present.
Yeah, you can talk about it and discuss it. You just can't. I mean, this body isn't passing it anyway,
Right.
but that can't be done until after the public hearing.
Gotcha, but the council's the one that approves
Correct.
everything, right?
That is
Yeah,
correct.
Okay, okay. So, I think Chip had passed out the annexation fiscal plan for the county dive property. She is requesting annexation into the city for that matter, for that piece of property. Chip, I don't know if you want to have anything to present within the fiscal plan outside of, it maybe just hit a couple of highlights in it, but
Pretty much what the physical plan just states is when we annex it, what we could have to incur. So utilities, we're gonna have more O&M costs. Fire, we could, right now, we're speculating on what will be there, but are we gonna have to add more fire? Are we gonna have to, and it just kind of breaks us to taxing increments. And so it's just kind of a high level financial future plan for the city. If that kind of gives you a rundown of it. Sidewalks, it goes through, there's some things in there that we don't have any control over, like telecommunications, electric, because this will be in Northeastern, but storm drainage, actually we found out the firm that they're using uses more green infrastructure, so their stormwater will be a natural progression instead of piping and everything. So, there shouldn't be too much stormwater added expense, but there will be expenses. But the problem is doing this, calculating the expenses on future plans versus it's an unknown. What the developer has gave me versus what it could be are, a gamble. And who's to say in 6 months the economy tanks and she doesn't develop, but at least we'll be one step forward on the annexation, so.
No, sorry.
Nope.
No, I would say this is what was approved on the planning commission side of the fiscal plan for us to reflect.
The planning, we haven't done anything with planning yet. I just presented those plans.
Okay.
Just kind of but no, they have to bring a plat to the planning commission and everything, which they have not done. So they're still in the design phase. That was just kind of a conceptual of what they wanted to do, what I showed at the planning commission meeting. But yeah, this is just annexing in the 85 acres of farmland.
Okay.
I was gonna say, to kind of further push that, keep in mind that the fiscal plan really just takes into account what's currently there. What happens in the future is still has many steps to go, so that's not necessarily taken into consideration. So the fiscal plan is really just what it is currently. So, any other questions of Chip on the fiscal plan?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Department head reports. Chip, we'll just stick with you.
So hopefully we get moving forward on the county die. Just a quick update, the 100 South and 300 East sewer line project, we are moving along on that. I did bring in some county employees since it's going to be out in the county and not really service any city residents, and that actually, to be quite honest, is kind of delaying things. I want to thank Mike Cook for giving me the money for this to move ahead.
Not much of it.
The tree board we've got about half the trees cut. Electric department's doing an incredible job. They've only messed up one tree that was marked incorrectly and cut incorrectly. So honestly, it could have been a lot worse than it was. It was only a 12-year-old tree instead of like a 100-year-old tree. And got a report, I haven't informed you this, Mayor, yet, but we are now a month behind on the Blue River Trail extension because survey is taking a little longer. Our surveyor had some family issues, so everything honestly though is going great.
Questions of Chip? Thank you, Terry.
2 Sundays ago, we had a scheduled network outage to upgrade our Cisco switches, our firewall, and also our phone system. That went pretty well without too many glitches, which is always a pleasant surprise. With the help of Sean and Kevin Jordan, we put a new mic in here. Hopefully this will be an improvement over what we had before at the podium, so that will work better for us, especially for the recordings that they can't hear them. I think all the parts are ordered for the MSF Wi-Fi out there, so we're waiting for that stuff to come in so SOS can get that installed. That's it.
Questions of Terry? Thank you. Sean?
Well, today we assisted the Noble County Highway Department in removing some trees that were right along the county line that had a chance to fall on the power lines. was kind of iffy, but any chance we get to minimize our outage time, we'll take the opportunity. They had some trees that they wouldn't take down, so we assisted them with that. Like I said, it was great to work with them. They cleaned the mess up. We cut them down for them. It was a good team project. I wanted to give an update on this North Substation project that we've been talking about for about a year now. We had a setback this week, and 2 of the switches that were supposed to be in are now back ordered again for another 24 weeks. So now we're looking at other options, including I have a meeting with AEP about our 69 kV conversion project, which takes place on that same transmission line. Maybe in putting those 2 projects together, maybe in the fall. I'll have more information as of Thursday, but the gentleman from AEP hasn't talked to his cohorts there at AEP. He said in about 3 months. So we're having a meeting to get everybody together and kind of formulate a game plan on that. So hopefully we'll have something next meeting on where we're moving on that. I did complete our annual pole attachment agreement audit. As some of you know, we adjust those every year according to the CPI or the inflation rate, and this year it's 6.5%. So that's going up for the pole attachment customers that we have, that amount. I also had a meeting with Casey Jones, used to be CNR Plating this week, sat down with their upper management because I have been noticing a trend of their usage kind of trending downward a little bit, and I wanted to meet with them to see what's going on, see if there's anything we can do as electric utility to assist them and to continue to be a good partner with them. It appears as though they've moved some processes out, but they're about to move some processes back in. So I think we're going to work with them on changing their billing rate a little bit to assist them while they do this transition. They've been a partner of ours for 40, 50 years now, and so we're going to do everything we can to keep them in town. So I was excited to hear that they're moving forward with some new processes, and they're looking at getting back to 3 shifts again. So all good news from them, but we're going to do everything we can to keep them going full speed. But other than that, we're just day-to-day standard operations.
Questions of Sean? Thank you. Mike?
First year, I updated all 3 weather stations, their computers, and for the data from those. All the level sensors and flow meters at the facility have been calibrated. We have to do that per permit, so that has been completed. Working on the SDI annual report, and the staff replaced and calibrated a LEL sensor on our dice door. And I've also started working on the 2022 EPA select report, so that's still keeping me busy. And then just regular day-to-day stuff like everybody else. So.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Questions of Mike? Thank you. Mike?
We got the 12-inch valve installed there at the alley there on, I can't think of there. What do I got put up with? I believe it's Madison Street.
Okay.
And we've got one that's going to be installed, I believe, next Wednesday. We already had the valve, inserted valve. We bought it when they were doing the down here on Main Street, the project, long-term control project. It didn't work, but we took it out. We still got it, so they're going to insert it on the water line there on Whitley and Ellsworth there so we can shut that line down.
Okay. Question to Mike? Thank you. Thomas?
Well, I asked the new mechanic to come in here and tell us the bad news, our engine's dying, and I'm kidding. It's ironic sitting here. He did find a few coolant leaks and some oil leaks on it that he's identified that he's going to order parts and schedule a date. It'll be done for a couple days, and he's going to repair it for us. So that's good news. Well, good, bad news. The great news is the Chiefs, we just put on a bunch of volunteers through our campaign And the Chiefs Association is putting on a firefighter 1 and 2 class that starts in March and will run through August. So it's nice that we have something local to send them to instead of trying to find somewhere remote to send our people to. So that's good news. And Trent Stamper, or one of our newer hires, has elected to take the Inspector 1 class. Chris has put in for the DROP program. He is our only certified inspector that we have. So having somebody to take over in that role as a backup is kind of a big deal to me anyway, and I think the mayor really appreciates it. So I want to thank Trent for stepping up to take that class.
Good. Questions of Tom? Thank you. Kelly?
Well, after the last snow we had around Christmas, first of the year, we had some equipment, plow that we had to get fixed. The parts came in from W.A. Jones for that, and one of our salt spreaders, the back end. It came in just after Adam, the new mechanic, started, and so rather than overwhelming him with trying to jump on that, our guys decided to tackle it, and they did an awesome job. And with Adam's help back there in the shop, so really appreciate him, jumping in and helping them guys out, and saved us a lot of labor for that. And so we're just preparing now for tonight and tomorrow, and that was good timing because we got stuff back going and up and running, so we're ready for that, and just excited too to see the bids come in, more than half of what the engineer's estimate was.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good news.
Yeah, makes me both nervous and excited at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I have too many scars from past bids that it's hard to trust low bids. Questions for Kelly? Thank you. Mark?
My guys have taken down a part of the overlook in the back by the pond, so they're rebuilding that. It's needed rebuilt for a while. So I'm excited that it's going to be done. It'll look a lot nicer and be much more stable than what it's been. So they're in the middle of that. They're also building concrete round balls, which sounds kind of crazy, but they're using them as barricades around the park to monitor, instead of building fences everywhere, to keep traffic from going everywhere. We've decided we spent $200 to buy a
target
mold. Yeah, so we built them.
Target.
And so then future plan is to have an art class in the school to kind of start painting those this fall. So I think it'd be a creative way to bring art into the park a little bit. We're still selling $5 dance tickets. Right now we've sold 600 of the 800 that we have. There's 40 left for one night and 150 for the other night. So one night's getting close. I think that's Saturday night. It's the busy night. We started making the Mayor's Park signs, so we're kind of in the middle of that now. I've still met with JPR quite a bit. I'm working on Eagle Park plans and just trying to get ready to bid that. And then online registration for baseball and softball starts the next Monday.
As a reminder to the board, it is not me as in my Mayor's Park. It is Mayor's Park that was established many years ago, way before I was in this position. Just for clarity's sake, appreciate that.
It's right by your house.
Any other questions? Also a coincidence. Questions of Mark? Marcia?
Nothing,
Rosie?
nothing.
Gary is doing written and physical agility tests tonight for the new, potential new police officers. Sorry?
He's not gonna make it.
He's not doing them, he is administering them for potentially new officers. He said they received 19 applications, with 3 being laterals and 1 being, I think, a confinement officer or something to that effect. So Officer Campbell and Thomas have completed their 3rd week at ILEA. Their intern has been working with them and is doing a good job. Updating policies, they did in dispatch had a router go bad for a backup channel, and everything was covered under the maintenance contract. Did you say that already? Did you say that already, Terry? Okay. Apparently, there's a couple workstation fans that went out as well that would cover under warranty, but they're working on SOPs in the dispatch as well. So, besides that, again, I'd say it every time, but there's a lot going on here at the city. We had Chip and I had a meeting on Monday to kind of talk about the next steps for Westgate. As I think I may have mentioned to you, we had a drainage study done for Westgate, and the original thought or idea was to go down Van Buren Street to go into the Phillips ditch, and then that price and everything else came out at $11 million. So we went back to the drawing board, and we were looking at some different options to maybe incorporate some green infrastructure, but to continue on the process of doing street, curb, sidewalk repairs, as well as some stormwater upgrades out there as well. Again, I'm anticipating 2 or 3 additional phases in the future for Westgate to complete that. Obviously, we've done 1 phase, that was the eastern portion of Westgate. Participated in a planning session with the school corporation, which I always appreciate that. We had Mayor's Commissioners Caucus last Wednesday, where we talked a lot about not only with what's going on with the current READI, R-E-A-D-I process at the state, but also a READI 2.0 grant program, so looking at what we can do for that. Thursday of this week, we have the blood draw for city employees in the wellness program, so while a lot of people going through up here during that time frame, that's a reminder tomorrow night, if you're a part of that, you need to quit eating in a certain period of time tomorrow night. We also, this Friday, have the City Awards banquet at Eagle Glen. Hope you can make that if you can. This Friday.
5:30, starts at 5:30.
I'll be again.
I will miss you. I'm sorry, it's at the Marshall Wellness Clinic. I'm sorry, not here. That's true. I apologize. And also, as I told you before the meeting, I'll tell you again, the next 2 Board of Works and City Council meetings, I will not be here, so good old Walt's gonna do a great job in leading both of those meetings, but I will try to keep the agendas decently light, but you have some things still moving forward in the process, so. Walt? Nicole? Anything from the audience? Okay. Then we will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I told you 6 o'clock. God, I told you 6 o'clock. I had to come actually watch you work for once.
I did the work early.